item is well, okay. Well, time to call this meeting to order. Time to call this meeting to order. First item here is visitors' remarks. Visitors' remarks. Reuben Linen. Would you like to speak? Would you like to speak?
I am a landscape contractor, and this weekend I was called upon about the thicket foliage that was being removed. Caught me by great surprise. I know this. You want to develop this property, so be it. But you know, as far as we're concerned, we didn't know anything about it. It caught us caught us off guard. My thing is, along the edge of the Resaca, usually when we're working in other landscaping projects and we have and the Resacas in the back, we start in reverse by protecting the Resaca first. Okay? Then you can develop as much as you want, but be considerate to the people that have spent so much money on their outdoor patios, on their screenings, to enjoy the Resaca. And you come in here to, yes, oh,
Into the mic.
I'm sorry.
We're online so that people can hear.
Okay, so I just wished or would say that be more considerate to us. Again, we're not stopping the development. I want to know how much foliage is going to be removed. I want to know how you're going to protect the Resaca. Because I know in other projects, the first things that go up is the retaining walls to protect the waterways. Okay, so that's what I want to know. I don't even know where it's going to be drained to. So those are the questions that I have. I see a plan for the first time this evening. Or somebody sent it to me on the email. But hey, come on. I know you said, you just mentioned to me, well, I'm the developer and I'm gonna develop quickly. Well, you can. Just be considerate to those that have invested a lot of money in those backyards.
Yeah.
Considerate.
That's what I'm building. That's what you're doing. That's what I'm building.
On the public hearing, anyone want to speak on the public hearing?
Hi, my name is Vanessa Castillo, and I live in the neighborhood directly behind the proposed Falcon Landing subdivision. I'm speaking today to request the commission deny the variance requests because they do not meet the legal standards required under Texas law or the Los Fresnos subdivision code. The developer is requesting 3 cul-de-sacs far beyond the 600-foot maximum allowed by city code. The proposed lengths 607 feet, 919 feet, and 1,067 feet. These are not minor deviations. One of them is nearly double what the law permits. When a subdivision requires multiple variances just to function, that signals a design that is fundamentally incompatible with the land and the city's established developmental framework. Texas variance law is clear. In order for variance to be granted, the applicant must demonstrate a hardship caused by the land itself, the hardship is not self-created, the reasonable use of the land is otherwise impossible, and the granting the variance will not harm public safety or neighboring property owners. None of these conditions are met here. This land is flat, open, and fully buildable. The only hardship is that the developer wants to increase density beyond what the code allows. A desire for more lots is not a legally recognized hardship. It is a self-created condition, and the law explicitly prohibits granting variances under these circumstances. Approving these variances would also compromise public safety, fire code, and emergency access standards warn against long dead-end streets because the slow emergency response, block evacuation routes, and create avoidable risks during storms or debris events. A 1,067-foot cul-de-sac is not compatible with modern safety expectations, and approving it would place residents at foreseeable risk that the city would be responsible for allowing. Additionally, the proposal significantly increases traffic load onto Henderson Road, which is a rural, narrow roadway never designed to absorb the vehicle volume that 160-plus homes will produce. There is no traffic impact study, no drainage analysis, no infrastructure plan submitted to offset these impacts. Approving a variance that materially increases density without supporting data exposes the city to legal challenges involving negligence, inadequate review, and failure to consider foreseeable harm. Environmental impacts cannot be ignored either, and I won't go into that right now, but under Texas law and under local code, a variance is an exception that must be justified, not a workaround for subdivision that cannot meet the rules. The proposal requires 3 separate exceptions simply to exist. That alone demonstrates incompatibility with city planning intent. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the commission deny the variances, require the developer to redesign the subdivision within code, and to ensure that any future proposal aligns with public safety standards, environmental protections, and the rural character that is part of this existing community. You on the P&Z committee have an obligation to serve your citizens, and I hope you do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have, who else will speak on this?
Good afternoon. My name is Gabriela Cavazos, and I also live on South Cuates. I'm here tonight because I have major concerns that must be addressed before any variances are considered. School bus safety, crime rates, and discrepancy in the subdivision survey. First, the school bus safety issue. The proposed division will add over 160 homes feeding directly into Henderson Road, which is already a narrow, rural, and heavily used road during school transportation hours, as I use it myself every morning. My children and many others use that bus route daily. Congestion and small roads put my children and my neighbors' children at risk of an accident. Adding dense traffic from cul-de-sacs into single outlet increases congestion, creates unsafe conditions for children waiting at or crossing near bus stops. This directly endangers the family who already live here and those future families to come. And it should be central to any zoning decision. The cul-de-sacs shown in the survey are narrow and small. Has anybody thought about the future children that are going to be in those homes? School buses will not be able to enter any of those cul-de-sacs. The children in those cul-de-sacs will have to walk to the stop sign in the rain, cold, heat to wait. They will have to walk on the street since there are no sidewalks and dodge cars to get there. Now, the developer wants to double that walk for those children by extending the cul-de-sac outside the city's ordinance. And it's not just a small extension, it's double. There's a reason for the ordinance, and it's to keep the children of Los Fresnos safe. Second, crime rates. The recommendation states Burglaries are less likely to occur since there are no through traffic. This is false. Contrary to the commonly held belief that a cul-de-sac inherently reduces crime by limiting through traffic, empirical studies suggest that street network connectivity and accessibility, rather than mere dead ends, play a significant role in shaping crime risk. Specifically, the case study by Urban Street Network Configuration and Property Crime done in 2025, this year, found that areas with lower connectivity experience higher property crime. Property crime is burglary, which was noted in the recommendation. Thus, eliminating connections does not always produce lower crime. In fact, isolation created by cul-de-sacs reduces natural surveillance. Therefore, the claim that cul-de-sacs automatically lead to less crime is not supported by any recent research. Further, police efficiency is reduced in dead-end designs. Research shows that fragmented street networks make it more difficult for law enforcement to patrol and to respond quickly. This decreases patrol visibility, unintentionally creates opportunities for offenders. Planning decisions should focus on how street layouts support active surveillance, ease of movement, and community interaction. Third, but certainly not my last concern, I must raise the concern of the accuracy of the survey itself. Lot 3 in Cuatas Resaques Village and Lot 9 on Falcon Landing show nearly identical openings in width. Yet the measurements listed are drastically different. Lot 9 is shown on the survey as 159.20 feet, while Lot 3, which is not shown, is 210.81. I have the survey. Despite appearing almost identical on the survey, this raises a critical question. Has the survey been independently verified? Is this plat drawn to scale? Measurement discrepancies of this size affect density calculations, road layout, drainage, environmental impact, and compliance with city code. If basic measurements are questionable on this survey, then approving variances now puts the city at risk for future corrections, additional requests from these developers, and potential disputes. Before approving variances, especially variances that stretch the limit of the city code, there must be confidence in that the data that the commission is reviewing is accurate and professionally verified. I want to note that my neighbors and I have not received any notices of anything to do with this Falcon Landing, and I am within 200 feet of this project. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the commission deny the variances and require a corrected to scale survey, a formal traffic review before proposal moves forward. And also talking to the school district, so you can verify that school buses will not be able to enter those cul-de-sacs. Pick up those small children on cold, raining days. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on the public hearing?
On the public hearing, if we speak on the public hearing, can we still speak on the action item, or you only get one? So this is open-ended?
This is on cul-de-sac, cul-de-sac.
Yeah, there were some logical points made, if the premises were right. The last thing I would want to see is a school bus going down a cul-de-sac. There'll be sidewalks, is that confirmed, in this subdivision for students to walk on. If the bus goes around the big loop, they'll be picked up at the end of the street. With kids going up and down and across that street, who would want to see the bus go down the cul-de-sac? The very best place for the students to congregate is at the end of the intersection. Regarding the length of the cul-de-sac, and there were some logical points made. The city, the 600-foot is a city regulation, but the city offers variances. One of our nicest subdivisions in this community is Durango Estates. That's almost 2,000 feet long, 26 lots, 70 foot. I've not heard of any problem with students being picked up. They also have a sidewalk. And any collection would be at the end where the appropriate place is to be. Now, I don't know about studies regarding police and crime rate in cul-de-sacs, but in a subdivision, in any subdivision, you've got to make it to where it's good for the city. It enhances, the subdivision is going to enhance the property around it, and it's sufficient to maintain. Regarding the cul-de-sacs, I don't know that any of those things are hurt or disadvantaged by having a cul-de-sac of that length. I personally believe the quietness of a cul-de-sac. I was a developer, I was a builder, and people love to live on cul-de-sacs because it's quieter. And the last thing I would ever want to see are excess vehicles running up and down those cul-de-sacs. And the longer it is, the less vehicles you have other than the property owners there. That's my thinking, and I respect some of the data that you had. My name is James Keeler.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak?
So I believe there was a lot of research done, and that's appreciated. Because a lot of us didn't get a chance to actually dig in or see the plans. I had not seen the plans until today. But for the longest time, there's been concerns about this road. Some of us that have owned property there for 15, 20 years know that the road is narrow, right? And we understand that the traffic is steady in that road. And this subdivision looks pretty good. I was not exactly aware of the rules and regulations as per state, local, county, in regards to how long they had to be. But the safety concern of children is high for everybody. My kids are grown-ups. They grew up here. They went to school here. They're already out of the area. They grew up and left the area, right? But that was my biggest concern when they were kids, that they would walk from the school to the house. There's no sidewalks for them to walk. And the road is dark at night. Children walking around tend to go in the middle of the road. They don't know any better. Some of them even go to the actual railroad tracks, and they get on the railroad tracks to move faster or to stay away from that road until they get to the road. So safety concern for our children should be high in our minds for everybody, right? Especially if a bus can't make it to a cul-de-sac to pick up children. That should be in our mind, even if the kids are not ours, because all kids, all children are our children here in the community. So we should all be thinking about that, right? Expansion is inevitable. It's going to happen. And it's acceptable because the city is growing. And we have to deal with that. Some of us might not like the fact that it's going to grow, that there's going to be more communities coming around, but we're going to have to accept it because that is where Los Fresnos is moving. And that is appreciated because we got to grow as a community. And these type of areas that are available for development are nice areas. So we want things to be done right. We want them to do their research, for them to be able to have the amenities necessary for our families, for the children to be able to walk on sidewalks, to be able to, at least from that subdivision to Paredes Line Road, where around the corner is a high school, to have some sort of an expansion on the road so kids or people that walk on the road have the access to be able to walk safely without concern of getting run over, right? I agree on both sides. I believe the rules and regulations should be followed. However, if there's a way for something like this to make sense without endangering the children or the community, we should be able to be open-minded about it. I know in the past we've had these type of hearings in regards to other different projects that were supposed to happen specifically in this property, and it was declined. The community came out and we came to an understanding that it was not the best for the community. And it was a similar meeting like this one. And we were able to come together, talk about it, and agree with the fact that apartment complexes were not fit for this community. However, this right here, subdivision, is very acceptable. so as long as the rules and regulations are followed. That is my take, and that's pretty much what I have to say. My name is Roque Villafranca. And my address is, well, my property is 215 Henderson Road here in Los Fresnos. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk.
Thank you.
Basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and just reinforce what you just said. And just this afternoon, I was out there, I was just outside and I was looking at a child walking home. As he's walking home, there's two cars coming in and no kind of understanding that this child is walking on the side of the road. Neither car comes to a halt or anything, but one of them does finally let the child walk in and go. But to that effect, like you said, that has always been my concern. I've been walking on that street for 20 years now. I've almost been run over 3 times. Thank God I've had the common sense to move out of the way, but nonetheless, either they didn't see me, they didn't care, they were going too fast, which has always been one of the problems that I've been always wanting to call the city for, because we need more supervision on that road. Everybody speeds through that road a lot. And I'd like to sit outside. You know, like I said, it's too much, there's too many cars speeding in that road. My dog actually got run over in February because of one of those high-speeding cars. I've always said, like Roque said, it's inevitable, the growing, the bringing in new, whatever it is. But I always said, why are we bringing anything more that road cannot handle anymore, that the present time that we have, the cars that we have on that road right now is barely able to sustain what we have. I didn't know it was 160, you said?
I think it's 160 lots.
160 lots. Where are those cars going to go? Personally, they use my driveway as a turnaround, which I've always said that I've always hated. Never put any kind of barrier, but with this in town, maybe it's time for me to do something about it. But I always say again, how are you guys gonna put any more cars, buses, whatever it is? Like I've said, I've been walking that road all my life in the 20 years, and again, almost been run over 3 times. Please consider that and hold that in mind. There is no more room.
Thank you. Six 6:23, this public hearing is closed. Action item number 1. Action item number 1.
Variance request.
Approved variance
on the
request
cul-de-sac
for
lengths
on the
which
cul-de-sac
exceed
lengths
the
which
maximum requirement
exceed the
length-
maximum requirement length,
required length of 600
required
feet
length
within
of
the
600
proposed
feet
Falcon
within the
Landing
proposed
subdivision.
Falcon Landing subdivision. Mark.
Did anybody have,
Was
specifically signed up for
was
this?
specifically signed up for this?
Okay, for the plat, okay.
Okay, for the plat, okay.
Our recommendation is
Our recommendation
still
is
to approve.
still to approve.
Some of the comments that
Some of
that
the
were made
comments
have to do with
that were
Henderson
made
Road.
have to do with Henderson Road.
Doesn't affect,
Doesn't affect
the cul-de-sac at all.
the cul-de-sac at all.
Fire buses,
Buses,
the width of the street
the
and the
width of the
cul-de-sac.
street and the cul-de-sac
Are designed so that
are
those
designed
buses
so
can
that
go
those
through there.
buses can go through
Um,
there.
There are some cul-de-sacs.
There are some cul-de-sacs
on this section of town that are
this
real
section of
small,
town
that
that are
the
real
buses do
small,
not
that the
go.
buses do not
But
go.
as long as they're
But
the-
as long
the
as they're
required size, then the
size,
buses will
then-
go.
then the buses will
and
go
do the turnaround.
and do the turnaround.
As far as safety and getting
As far as
access,
safety and getting
emergency
access,
vehicles,
emergency
it's
vehicles.
never been a problem in anywhere
Never been a
that-
problem
that
in anywhere
I've known
that I've known
to be a problem.
to be a problem, so.
Our recommendation is that
Our
we,
recommendation is that we
approve the
approve the
variance request, and it
variance
is
request, and it
7
is
feet on one,
7 feet on
319
one,
on the other,
319 on the other,
467 on the other.
467 on the other.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
Just a follow up on. I'm curious if we've talked to the city attorney in regards to any legal ramifications, if there is any.
The variance is allowed, so there wouldn't be any, there wouldn't be any.
Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move variance request to approve variance request on the cul-de-sac which exceeds the maximum required length of 600 feet with Falcon Landing subdivision.
Oh, second. Oh, second.
I make a motion to deny. I make a motion to deny.
All right, that's enough. All right, that's enough. Motion doesn't carry. Motion doesn't carry. Motion disapproved. Motion disapproved. Well, I guess I need a second. Well, I guess I need a second for that second motion. I need a second for it. I need a second for it.
I'll move on that second.
On which one? On which one?
On action item, action item number one.
Yeah, but which motion? He made a motion. He made a motion, so.
All in favor?
Or deny.
All opposed? I vote to deny. Motion carries.
Wait, it's already passed, so if you wanted to speak, you had the opportunity before, so that's why that opportunity was there, so. So Robbie, you didn't deny, so it's 3-2, so it's denied, then, item number 2, you can't take action on because it has the cul-de-sacs there, so you can go to item number 3.
Action item number 3. It didn't. Action item number 3, consider an action to approve the minutes from the October 2025.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
The other items on the agenda, you know, proposed alternative. I mean, it's on the agenda. That's why we're sticking on the agenda.
But it can't be. I don't think.
Information, this is a.
This meeting is adjourned.
$4.4 million a year in this city, and I lived down there too. And I have fought projects there,